Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. I am your host, Kim, aka Bravo Breaking News on Instagram. And guys, today I am coming at you with a story that is taking the social media world by storm. And that is Tom Sandoval's latest interview with the New York Times. Just when we thought Tom could not dig himself any deeper than he already has, he does this interview and says some things that might be getting him canceled or worse, fired from Bravo. I'm going to get into all the details you need to know, but before I dive in, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news. So in case you missed it, an article came out this morning from the New York Times interviewing Tom Sandoval about Sandoval. The interview is titled, How Tom Sandoval Became the Most Hated Man in America. He turned last year's season of Vanderpump Rules into the best in reality TV's history and ruined his life in the process. So this article is a very long piece interviewing Sandoval, following him around his day-to-day life in the Valley, touring. He's talking about his time throughout Sandoval, on Special Forces, and the aftermath of it all. But the part that's making headlines is one of the cringiest, most inappropriate comments that somebody could make in an interview, let alone Tom Sandoval. Of course, the interviewer is going to ask him how Sandoval affected him and how he's been dealing with the aftermath. And his responses are what is potentially going to get him canceled. First of all, he states that he feels like he got more hate than Danny Masterson, and he's a convicted rapist. That is a quote from Tom Sandoval. So first off, Tom Sandoval is mentioning a convicted rapist in his interview with the New York Times. That is strike one. And saying that he got more hate when Danny Masterson was sentenced to life in prison, I don't think is a fair comparison. But just wait, because it gets worse. The interviewer asked Sandoval why he thought the scandal got so big. His response, I'm not a pop culture historian really, but I witnessed the O.J. Simpson thing and George Floyd and all these big things, which is really weird to compare this to that, I think. But do you think in a weird way it's a little bit the same? Like, excuse me, Tom, did you just compare Sandoval to George Floyd's murder and O.J. Simpson, who is a murderer? What was he thinking? The interview continues with the interviewer explaining what his publicist was doing at that moment. She looked over at Riley, who was typing furiously on her phone. Riley is Sandoval's publicist. I think I knew what he meant. He was trying to express the oddity of becoming the symbolic center of a nationwide discussion and a major news story. What he communicated instead was something more honest, which is just how much the experience had made him lose perspective. And lose perspective is right. How on earth could he compare his situation to those men at all? It is not the same. It will never be the same. It is not even close. And while Sandoval did earn major media attention around the globe, I don't think that mentioning those names in the interview, let alone comparing your situation to theirs, is the right move in any possible way. He continues the interview again, making excuses for what he did. He says, I did what I did because I was in an unhappy place in my life. I got caught up in my emotions and fully fell in love, like for real. They said he sighed and drained his teacup. Then he got up, put on some upbeat music, and went upstairs to get ready for a night out. His publicist says, sometimes he says too much, and the following day forgets what he says. Then she went upstairs to have a quick word with him. So this is coming from the interviewer of the New York Times article who was at Sandoval's house interviewing him next to his publicist, Riley. And let's just say Riley is probably not too happy with him in this moment and wasn't too happy with him in that moment, because once these words were out of his mouth, they were on the record. There was no way that the New York Times article was not going to include this quote from Tom Sandoval, and she knew it was only going to be trouble. Now, of course, everybody is blowing up social media about this, as they should, because it is absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, just when we thought Sandoval could not get any worse, he digs himself into this hole that I'm pretty sure he's not going to be able to come back out of. And fellow Bravo celebrities are coming at him. The first being our queen, Katie Maloney. She commented on the Bravo by Betches post on Instagram, "The fuck? ? Hey, Tom Schwartz, you want to come explain what he was really trying to say?" So, of course, Katie is stunned by this, and she's calling for Schwartz to once again defend Tom like he has time and time again. And I wonder if Schwartz knew about this quote in the interview and knew that it was coming and has still stood by Sandoval's side. My guess would be yes. Then we have other Bravo celebrities weighing in, including Gertie from The Real Housewives of Miami, who is absolutely slamming Sandoval. Her comment reads, "Tom Sandoval, please reflect on this repulsive statement you made regarding George Floyd, RIP, especially in Black History Month, and take it back. Not okay. An immediate apology is in order, sir. The disrespect, ... And on Black History Month, ... Wow, just please." And I agree. I think that Tom needs to come out and apologize for this immediately, because this has the potential to break him for good. Just when he thought he was the most hated man in America for cheating on Ariana, saying these things is almost worse. It has the potential to get him canceled for good and possibly even fired from Bravo. We know Bravo does not tolerate racism in any way. They have fired former employees for making racist comments and doing things that have come off as such. And Tom Sandoval making this comparison is definitely along the lines of something that could get him fired. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm going to be waiting with bated breath for Tom's response on this article. Is he going to come out and apologize? Is he going to come out and make excuses? Because as we know, he's not one to take a lot of accountability. Tom likes to beat around the bush and maybe blame other people. Is he going to blame the reporter? If he does not take accountability, I will not be surprised. But Tom, no matter what happens, whether he gets canceled, whether he gets fired, whatever happens, he must apologize, because that is the only remote way for him to move on after this. So that is the Bravo breaking news of the morning. Sandoval has dug himself into a deeper hole, and I'm not sure that he's going to come out of it. We will be here to cover all of the updates regarding Sandoval. We will also be here to recap tonight's Vanderpump Rules tomorrow with our co-host Lisa. So make sure you tune in and subscribe so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news.